Yeah, you can see the cable coming through here. It's underneath. There's a spot here and here. And now under the layouts, and I have the sensors here. Sensor 1 and sensor 2. And where are my holes? There's one hole. That better be the sensor 1 hole, because that's all the cable I have. Okay, as the next step, I've decided to fix these permanently in place. So in order to do that, I have two options. I can use this tacky glue. Yeah, I'm going to do it. I was thinking of maybe using a hot glue gun, but this is a really small space, so it's hard to do it with a hot glue gun. So what we'll do is, now that these are above grade, we'll bend them over and we'll squish. Yeah, it's about as far up as I can get it. Bend it over a bit so I can hopefully get some glue in the hole. Try a little on each side. And then we'll slide that back down. Sweep up and down a few times. I'm going to get a sensor. So I want to push this around enough that it gets around everything, not on it. Need a cloth. There we go. Okay, same kind of thing here. That's now at track height or rail height or a little below. Now we'll just let those set. Well, it's now a couple hours later. There's the two sensors installed, photoresistors. And now I need to install stuff under the table and do power. Okay, so step one here. Here's where the two sensors are. And here's this wire going along here and up there, so I need to do, oh, and that came unglued there, that's good. So I need to get the glue flowing here. Oh, there's some vacuuming I can do. Plan is to just bend those over a little bit, use some glue in there. Some more glue down there. Let that go back through a bit. This is going to come along here to there, and have my power wire here. That's going to come through from this side. Like this, and then connect in here, and then that will just sit there, and the power wire goes back up to where it needs to be. Gorilla tape that I'm using. I mean, this is all been a test layout to test different things. Tape isn't the best way to hold things down. I figured that out. But it does a not terrible job. So as well, you know, once this guy heats up enough, get rid of the old glue that was dripping there. The only complaint I have about using a glue gun is that stringing that happens. It's now ready. Let's see how ready it is. Oh yeah, okay. A little bit there. Yeah, this sometimes has a little trouble getting started. There. I'll just hold that for a... Oops, touch the other stuff. Okay, so now you can see up here, and the first thing I'm going to try and do is get through on the back side of this, if I can. To do that, that wire has to pass under there. And then has to go in. Oh, I'll be able to do it, I just need to get a... And I should be able to use this for that. Now, how do I know if that's in? Well, try and pull it out. If it comes out easy, then it... Nope. Not coming out. Okay, now that that's in, I just want to put some glue on in a couple of spots to hold it in. Yeah, I suppose, just for fun, I could squirt a little glue in there. Let that dry a bit. And we'll flip the table over and do that stuff. So here's what I found out. My thought was if I had a speedometer on the front and the back that I could measure speed, you know, so you got a loop going around like this, I could measure here and I could measure here, and I could see if there's any speed difference as I adjusted CVs. Problem is, if your layout isn't perfectly level and tracked perfectly clean, those two speeds are inherently going to be different. It's an analog system. And on my layout, there is a slight downhill. So I can't remember what the other one said, but I've got the front one is a speed of 71.4, and it's heading around at the back right now, and it says 66.3. And that's because of the slope. And you know, I tried to adjust it, it's pretty level, but I only want to put so many shims in place. Now I've checked each speedometer against the portable one, and they're, I mean, it's analog, it moves up and down a bit, so it's not consistent. You know, there you get a 67 reading, and the bottom line, it doesn't matter how I adjust these two guys, they're never going to be identical all the time. They're going to be close, which is what they are now. So if I torque this thing up and run, you know, that's 122 scale mile an hour, 123, and over here it's 128. And so the front one is 5 or 6 scale mile an hour faster, right? 126 in the back, and 128 so 3 mile an hour. Now, let's go backwards. Okay, so now it has to go uphill to find the sensor. That's at 128.9, and now it's going to go downhill. It's 137. It doesn't quite count because we're just coming up to speed. So look at this. This comes through at 131. And the rear one at 138. So there's 6 mile per hour difference, but the rear one is now higher all the time because of the slope. Oh yeah. And of course, when we switch and go forward again, back one's 125 and the front one's 126, 128. So they're pretty close, but the front one's always higher going in this direction. So if I adjusted them the same to be in this direction, they'd be out even more in the other direction. So I'm not going to make any changes. But to give you an idea of scale speed, this is 58 on the back, it might be 59 on the front. So this is a scale just about 60 mile an hour. I know you can't quite see it. Yeah, 60.78. You'll be able to maybe pick it up more in the back. You'll be able to pick it up when it rounds the top anyway. And that says 57. So that gives you an idea how much way fast you're driving your trains. I mean, that's railway speed. This isn't bullet train speed by any means. It's only 150 mile an hour. But it's certainly faster than any local would ever run in North America. Now when you tune that down to a speed where you think, well, that's a nice running speed. What, I'm going 80 mile an hour at 85. Anyway, that's the end of the testing. Well, it's not quite the end of the testing. The testing was to see which does better, infrared sensor or the photosensitive. Well, in this light, it makes no difference. So what I'm going to do is turn out the lights in here. And I'm going to kick the camera so you can't see. It's not the best. Okay, now I'm going to reboot the systems by unplugging the power, turning off the engine, reboot the systems. You can see they're doing an initialization and a countdown. And it's just too dark for the one in the back. It can't handle it, which is not a surprise. Let's turn on the light in the corner here and do a reboot again. Okay, we're rebooting. Well, the back one seems okay. Let's get a train moving here. Oh, we're going backwards, okay. 101.3, it had no problem at all. 107.6. So, even in dim light, this is pretty dim, that speedometer back there still works. I'm quite impressed with that. And of course the IR one does, because I could be in pitch black and it'll still work. Now the thing I did in my routine for that back one is I do a sampling of ambient light and then I take my cutoff at 75% of it. And so as long as there's enough ambient light that it can get some readings, it'll work fine, which it does. So I'm quite impressed with the way that's working. I'm assuming you can, well, yeah, I guess you can just see that. Show you better here. Okay, there's the rear one popping on. And the front one pops on. And of course, as before, if I go backwards, at a more normal speed, 71, it's still pretty fast. Need passenger trains for that. And 75, which you, and we'll go the other direction. We're going to turn it down a little more. That's at 55 now. But it's still going to serve the purpose. The purpose is for speed matching. And if I look at the back one and one's at 60 and one's at 55, it's just that I can't look at the front and compare to the back, that's all. And we'll bring it around here so I can shut the system down. Good.